Hi everyone, my name is Samantha Gill. I am a certified personal trainer at Harley-Davidson in York, PA. Thank you for joining me for my quick little 15-minute wellness talk here. Today we're going to talk about back pain and how strong glutes play such an important role in hopefully preventing or alleviating some back pain you may have. Just a disclaimer, I'm not a doctor, I'm a personal trainer. I'm here to talk about the muscles and the ligaments and the stretching and the tight muscles and the weak muscles, not diagnosing here. So if anything any of the exercises you do from today's presentation make it worse, aggravate the lower back, please see a professional for that. So let's get started. Today we're going to overview the anatomy of the glute, also known as the buttocks or the butt, and the glute complex. We're going to learn about glute strength and a few corrective exercises you can do at home that can hopefully help loosen things up and prevent your back pain. So let's talk about the anatomy of the glute here quickly. The glute is complex in itself, is made up of three different muscles. You have the gluteus maximus, which we've all heard of. It is the largest, the thickest, the widest of the butt muscles. It's basically the one that helps you sit, run, climb, whatever you are doing. It's probably being activated. The gluteus medius is it's a thick muscle, but kind of broad in the middle of all three of the butt muscles. And the gluteus minimus, as it states, is the smallest of the three muscles. So there's kind of your glute complex there. A few fun facts about the glutes. It is the largest and strongest muscle in your body. Without the glutes, like I said in the previous slide, you wouldn't be able to sit, stand, walk, run, jump, you name it. You're probably using your glute. The glutes are designed to be very powerful, and they're basically the glue that holds together the upper and the lower parts of your body. So really important, really important. They control everything from the hamstrings to the hips to the back. So we need these strong and we need these flexible. Did you know, fun fact, that you can actually get glute amnesia? And it is called dead butt syndrome. And I know a lot of people joke about dead butt syndrome, but it really is a real thing. So some of you may have had it before, but it's when your glutes forget to activate. So we want to avoid dead butt syndrome. And I'm sure you guys are listening to this for a reason, but we all, I'm sure, have had lower back pain at some point in our lives. I'm guilty as well. But 80% of adults typically get back pain at some point in their life. So let's hope some of these exercises that we're going to talk about can help prevent that. So if you have any three of these, you are in the right place. Do you have weak glutes, tight glutes, or tight hip flexors? Then they're probably pulling on that low back in some way, shape, or form. So I'm going to give corrective exercises and stretches for each of these situations to hopefully help you out here. But first, we're going to quickly review a glute strength and glute activation test. We're not going to spend a lot of time on this slide. This is a quick Cliff Notes presentation. But if you ever are curious and want to test your glute strength, whether one is stronger, whether one is weaker, can you actually activate them, which is harder than you think, try this test. So like I said, we're not going to spend too much time on this slide, but we're going to move into the good stuff, the meat and potatoes of the presentation here, the corrective exercises. So like I said, I have about 2 exercises for each category here, and then at the very end, it will kind of give you how long you should be doing these, how often. So first, let's talk about weak glutes. Weak glutes are especially common in 2 types of people, and those are individuals who typically don't work out very regularly, or individuals who have been diagnosed by a doctor with chronic low back pain. Often we see one side of the glute is typically weaker than the other, and it could be a muscle mass issue, it could be lack of flexibility, but these exercises are the ones you should be focusing on. So let's go over the first one here. All these you can do at home with minimal to no equipment. So the first one is called a glute bridge. You want to lie flat on your back, legs are bent, and you're simply going to lift those hips up towards the ceiling. You want to focus on activating and squeezing the glutes at the top of this lift, and then lower them back down. The glutes and the hip complex touch the ground, and then you lift them right back up. So you want to do these nice and smooth, lift those hips up as high as you can, and lower back down. Very classic exercise and very effective. So the next one is a what we call a glute kickback. You can do this one of two ways. You can do this with body weight, or you can do this with, as you see in the picture here, a little resistance band around the ankles. But if you don't have one at home, don't worry, you can still do these. So the glute kickbacks, you want to stand nice and tall. You can have your hands on your hips or your hands at your chest, wherever you feel comfortable. And all you're simply going to do is kick one leg back and squeeze the glute at the top of that lift and bring it back to the starting position. One really important thing to remember here is you don't want any upper body swaying. You don't want to sway with your legs. So your upper body from your hips up stays stationary the whole time. The only thing moving should be that single leg glute that you're kicking back and activating. And what you do on one side, you must do on the other. So make sure you repeat the set on both legs. So that's our glute kickback. Next, we're going to move into the tight glutes. Very common, very common. If you've had back pain before, the glutes tend to get really tight after a flare-up of that back pain. And if not addressed, the glutes can stay tight and overload the lower back, which really doesn't help your problem in the first place. So at least almost all individuals with back pain have tightness and at least one glute. So this is really important. So these will activate some of those smaller muscles to create some flexibility in there to hopefully relieve that lower back pain. So this first one here, you do need a prop. If you have dogs at home or kids, I'm sure you have a ball, a tennis ball. It could be a lacrosse ball. The harder the ball, the more intense this could be. So you maybe want a little softer massage ball, whatever that looks like, or whatever you have that could maybe possibly emulate this move, use it. So what you want to do is you want to stand against the wall. You want to have the ball placed right along the glute, and you're just simply going to roll in circular motions. At the first time you do this, it will be a little painful. You're breaking up those muscle fibers, trying to create that blood flow, loosen up these really tight muscles. That's why we're doing this, right? So do what you can this for the first time, and then try a little bit longer each time. Like I said, it can be a little intense, so go based on your ability level. And then, like I said, whatever you do on one side, you want to switch that to the other side. So then you'll tuck that tennis ball under the other glute and do a nice circular motion against that wall just to kind of loosen things up. Love this exercise. One of my favorites. So after you do the tennis ball, let's stretch it out, right? So this is a classic stretch. You can do this at your desk. You can do this sitting at the dinner table. You can do it on the couch. You name it, you can do this anywhere with a chair. So what you're going to do is you're going to sit in that chair, play across your right leg over your left, and then you're simply going to just hinge over at your hips, leaning forward slightly, and you'll feel a nice stretch in that glute muscle, which is what we're looking for. Really simple. The majority of the population can cross their leg over. If you can't, we do have modifications, and let us know. We're happy to help you with those modifications. And you return to the starting position and then do the same thing on the other side. So a nice little glute chair stretch for those tight glutes there. So the last category we're going to talk about are the tight hip flexors. This one is my kryptonite here. Tight glutes. This can cause as much discomfort with the lower back as weak glutes can. So overtraining those muscles and not stretching those muscles after a workout or really just sitting for a long time creates these tight hip flexors. So it's really like this chain reaction that we really don't want to get close to, but it happens. So prolonged sitting, if you're in an occupation that or if you're at a position here that you're sitting for a long period of time, you probably have those tight hip flexors. All those muscles right around the sit bones and the hips, they all bunch up and they shorten. And if you don't stretch them out regularly, they pull on that back. Like I said, this is my kryptonite, those tight hips. But here are a couple stretches that you can do to help that, hopefully. So the first one is a classic. We've all done the butterfly stretch in gym class. This dates way back, right? So the butterfly stretch is very effective. So bring it back into your repertoire. Seated butterfly stretch, sit on the floor, bring the soles of the feet together, and let those knees flare out. Let gravity take over. And this is another stretch. You know, you might start out and it might be really tight, but just keep doing it for a little bit longer each time you stretch. And let those legs inch a little bit closer to the floor each time. And you will see a difference with regular stretching with this one. So this is a great stretch, classic stretch. Bring it back. Very effective. And then the final one we'll talk about today is the kneeling hip flexor stretch. If you need something soft under that back knee, please grab something, a blanket, a pillow, whatnot. You can also do a version of this standing, which I don't have in these slides, but once again, we can give modifications if you can't bend that knee or put that knee on the floor. But what you want to do is you want to do a kneeling 90 degree kind of lunge and with your back knee on the ground. And you're simply going to keep that torso upright and push those hips forward until you feel nice, comfortable, or for some people, unfortunately uncomfortable because they're so tight, stretch in those hip flexors in the back leg, kind of running down through the groin into the top of the thigh. Great stretch, really isolates those hip flexors. So do what you can on this one and work your way up to holding it longer each time. So now I've given you all of these exercises, and now you're wondering, now what? Okay, I know I have tight hips. I know I have tight glutes, weak glutes. What do I do now? Well, here are some recommendations for you guys. I showed you 6 stretches and very doable. Get in a routine, build those habits, and you want to focus on maybe completing these 3 to 4 times a week. It will not take long. Once you kind of know what you're doing, 10 minutes tops, maybe less. But you want to try these for 3 to 4 times a week, and you will hopefully see a difference in your flexibility, range of motion, and hopefully the goal is to alleviate some of that pressure on the lower back. You want to do 1 to 2 sets. So you want to hold for certain exercises like the glute kickback, the bridge. You want to do 1 to 2 sets, about 10 to 15 reps. Nice and controlled. For the stretches, we also recommend 1 to 2 sets, and you want to hold for about 30 to 45 seconds. Now, as I mentioned, some of these stretches can be a little intense at first. If you can only start with 10 seconds, that's fine. Reset and try for 15 seconds the next time. That is okay. The goal is to reach 30. Just work your way up nice and slowly. There we have it, folks. If you have any questions, shoot us a message, the HC Fitness Trainers, and we are happy to help you with any of these exercises, recommendations. But thank you so much for my Cliff Notes version of my lower back pain glute talk. If you have any questions, reach out, and thanks for watching.